And I'm going to go ahead and start the recording now. And I'm going to share a screen. And I'm just going to make sure that you are seeing what you should be seeing here. There we go. So you should be seeing now a blank page for Google. And again, my name is Cynthia Kane. I am your SLIM librarian liaison. Something that I will do as we go along as well is I will make sure you may already have that in your Canvas courses, but just in case you don't, I do want to make sure that you have that if you ever need to reach out to me from here on out. I am so happy to do any type of Zoom research appointments with you. I do a lot of Zoom appointments with students. We can email back and forth as well. Sometimes Zoom is better because then I can see your screen. I can share my screen with you kind of within a few seconds, whereas with email, we might be doing a lot of tag teaming back and forth as well. Oh, thank you very much. Let me do something here. Teresa just messaged me that my audio was cutting out a bit. Just a second. Is that any better now as far as the audio is concerned?
Yes, I think that's better, Cynthia.
Okay, great. I just switched to another microphone. Thanks so much. I appreciate that. Perfect. Thank you, Hannah, as well. Okay, I appreciated that heads up. So one thing that I was asked to do before we start is maybe to share very briefly how I got into librarianship in the first place, and in particular, academic librarianship. So this might be kind of interesting for you all. I am actually also a graduate of our School of Library and Information Management. Now, that was back in the relative dark ages of 1988. I graduated in August of 1988 from SLIM. And at that point, I had already decided that I was going to stay in academic libraries. The way that that happened was I had also done my undergraduate major, which is not too unusual when it comes to librarians. And I had done my undergraduate degree and also my Master of Arts degree in English here at ESU prior to going into library science. When I was doing my master's work in English, I was a graduate teaching assistant. And like many, I taught English Composition 1 and English Composition 2. I have absolutely no hesitation in saying that I was probably not all that effective as a composition instructor. And that might sound kind of unusual. I love to write. I enjoy research. I love writing. To teach writing, to teach rhetoric and composition does take a particularly, I think, unique skill set. So I think I did all right in it, but what I found was, as I was thinking about what I wanted to do later on, I found that when I was teaching English Composition 2, and we were working on our research papers, one of my favorite parts was to take my students to the library. I absolutely loved doing that. I loved having library days. I loved having students in the library, and I loved helping them at that time look for books using the card catalog, the print card catalog, and also using print indices such as the Reader's Guide to Periodical Literature to look up articles to see if we had them in the library. I just really enjoyed doing that. So as I got closer to finishing my Master of Arts in English, I thought, okay, what can I do next? I did a little bit of additional research, and I realized that probably being an academic librarian would be a good outlet for me because I could combine a lot of my love of students, a love of teaching research skills. And we were very fortunate because right here at ESU, we already had a library science program that was accredited by the American Library Association. I will also tell you that I think my parents were a little bit worried at that point that I was on my way to becoming a professional student because I explained to them that I did want to finance my education for 2 more years, which I did, and then have a Master of Library Science degree. So I decided to do that, probably one of the best professional decisions I ever made. What I always say is technology is always going to change. Access to information is always going to change. That's just the nature of what we do. But what does not change would be our need to connect patrons to reliable, accurate information. That simply will never change. And I think that's probably one of the most rewarding parts of my job. I really enjoy helping students. I like learning about new things. And if a student has a topic that I've never heard anything about, I can always think, okay, I don't know anything about this topic, but I think I can figure out where to find information on that topic that would be reliable. And then again, do those connections and those bridges. So if that's something that, if you've ever wondered, well, what can I do with my MLS degree? Just kind of think about that. The needs of our patrons will never change. So today is show you some shortcuts. So as we go along, I'm going to be giving you some tips on how to search more and then how to narrow and focus a search. I'm also going to be showing you some library resources such as interlibrary loan, document delivery for books or articles that may not be mailed to you as well. So I'm going to start here with my first shortcut. My first shortcut is how to get to the library's webpage. There's a lot of different ways that you can do this. This is my favorite way. I go to emporia.edu/library. And I actually, as you can see on my screen, I actually have this then saved as one of my bookmarks up here in Google Chrome. So we're going to go to the library's webpage. And you may want to go ahead and bookmark that or highlight that as a favorite in your browser as well. Everything that I do today, I'm doing this in Google Chrome, but in reality, this will work in any browser that you happen to use. We've also been trying to optimize our library's webpage so that it will work more effectively on mobile devices such as your phones. It's probably not as great as it could be, but you can do searching on your phones or on your tablet and then get what you need as well. So the first thing I wanted to show you here on our library's webpage is that we do have a chat service called Ask a Librarian. We actually do not staff this chat on Saturdays. And the reason that we don't is that we have found that through analyzing and so forth, one of my jobs is assessment at the library. And so I do a lot of scanning, usage statistics, data analysis, and so forth. We actually don't necessarily have the volume of questions on a Saturday that would warrant staffing our Ask a Librarian service. However, this is when it is available. These are also, these times are in Central Standard Time, so I do need to highlight that. So our chat for Ask a Librarian will be available Mondays through Thursdays from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m., Fridays from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Sundays through 6 through 9 p.m., again, Central Standard Time. So whenever these hours are open and you see that the Ask a Librarian service is available, this is also available. If you clicked during the available hours on Chat with Us via Zoom, that would take you automatically into a Zoom conversation with whoever is staffing our chat reference, our virtual reference. Sometimes that might be me, and sometimes that might be another of my colleagues. This is a really good way if you need immediate assistance, immediate help. If you have a question that is going to involve a little bit more of a research that might take a little bit longer, I would really encourage you to contact me. And what I'm going to do right now, before I forget, is pop into chat my email address. which is ckane1, number 1, at emporia.edu. And my phone number is 620 341 5480. And of course, you can always leave me a voicemail if you need to, and I'll be sure and get back with you. So what I'm going to do today is actually highlight 3 tabs here, or 3 links: the Discovery Search Catalog, databases, and journals. And each of these links will do something a little bit different according to your research need. There we go. Copy this in the chat so everybody can see this. 620-341-5480. There we go. So, as I said, each of these links is going to do something just a little bit different depending on what you need. So our Discovery Search Catalog, if you're familiar with online catalogs or basically online library catalogs through other libraries that you're working in or are using right now, our Discovery Search Catalog is exactly like that. It is actually a way of finding out what items are owned by the William Allen White Library or accessible either in print form or in online form. And what I find is with the Discovery Search Catalog, this is actually most useful if you want to see if something like an ebook, an electronic book, is available in the William Allen White Library. So we're going to go to the Discovery Search Catalog. And what you're going to see up here right away is that there's a link here that says, welcome guest, sign into your institution for full access. If you are in the Discovery Search Catalog, go ahead and do this first. And you're going to enter the same information that you would use to access Canvas or your student email. So I'm going to put in my username. And my password. And I'm going to log in. And what that will do is authenticate me as someone who is currently affiliated with Emporia State University. If you were just searching the online catalog, you wouldn't necessarily have to do that. The reason I went ahead and did that is I'm actually going to be switching in a little bit to databases. And with databases, those are actually limited to people who are currently affiliated with ESU, current students, faculty, and staff. So now I can actually switch back and forth from one database or one resource to another. I don't have to log back in again as long as I stay in this browser session. If I were to exit this browser session, then I would have to log back in again with my ESU username and password. But this is kind of a shortcut to be able to do this. So I'm going to start with a topic that is definitely uppermost, I think, in everybody's minds. I won't say that we are emerging right now from COVID-19 because now we're dealing with so many variants. We are now, goodness, when you think about it, getting close to 2 years since COVID-19 first started affecting every part of our lives. And one part that was tremendously affected for all types of libraries were services and resources. As far as William Allen White Library was concerned, we really had to switch to how we were going to promote our virtual reference services because our library closed down for a few months, just like the rest of campus did, and how we were going to make sure that people knew that we were still available. How did we do our outreach? So I'm going to say that my topic might be libraries providing outreach services in the age of COVID-19. That's what I'm interested in researching right now. So I might say that I'm doing a literature review on that. In the information life cycle, the way that this works, it is pretty unlikely right now that any books have actually been published by that specific a topic or that specific a subject. And that's something to think about when you're doing a literature review. Books take a long time sometimes to get through the publication process, even in e-form. And as such, books are going to be good for providing background information on a topic. For more recent information, such as the COVID-19 effects, that's when I'm going to go to articles. I want to see, I'm going to start kind of broad first. I'm curious to see if we happen to have any print books or any ebooks that might deal with libraries. And notice what I'm doing here. So these are kind of my tips that I'm going to be showing you for better searching. When I started to type in the term libraries, notice that I got some suggested terms to search in the Discovery Search catalog. Those are called synonyms. Let the database or let the catalog help you come up with synonyms or variants of keywords. The great thing about this is going to broaden your search, and it may come up with ideas for keywords that you had not thought of the first time. So you may wind up getting results that you wouldn't get otherwise if you had just typed in one word, or if I just done one word because of libraries. Second tip, notice what I did here. I changed my search field to search just within the abstract or a summary of a record, a bibliographic record in the catalog. I did that for a very specific reason. Even within this library catalog, and especially when we switch in a little bit to databases, if you do not limit a search to the abstract or the summary of an item, when you're doing a rather broad keyword search, you are going to get results. However, those results may not be that targeted or that focused to your information need. So if you've ever searched in an online resource and you've gotten a lot of results, but you think, well, this doesn't really have anything to do with my topic, that's probably what's happened. The search is actually going everywhere within the full text of all those items and so forth. An abstract will give you fewer results, but again, they may be a little bit more focused. And if it doesn't work, you can always go back and broaden your search. But I always start with a keyword search first within the abstract of an item, regardless of the database or online resource that I'm in. So that's another, hopefully a good hint for you. Now we're going to go down here. I would like to see, this is already checked automatically. I'm going to be searching for items that ESU actually owns. I want to limit to either print books or to ebooks. I'm going to go ahead and start with ebooks. And of course, I'm going to find a lot of information because I haven't limited that much. But I'm going to go back down here. And I'm going to type in outreach. And again, see, I'm letting this do my search for me. Outreach programs or community service, or community outreach or service learning. And I still have a lot of results, but this is the great thing about what I did. I was able to limit just to ebooks that are accessible through the William Allen White Library. And I know you are using ebooks as textbooks as well. So this is just a way that you could find additional ebooks that might work for a topic that you're researching. I've got some really interesting ones here. Small Libraries, Big Impact. How to Better Serve Your Community in the Digital Age. Well, that was printed in 2016, so obviously that's not going to have anything to do with COVID-19, but I could use that for background information on how to better serve your community in the digital age. Promoting individual and community health at the library, that might be interesting. As I go down here, some of these might be a little bit less relevant, but here would be an excellent one for me to look at as well. Accessibility for persons with disabilities and the inclusive future of libraries. So I'm getting some interesting things here. Let's go back up here. And I'm going to go ahead and click on actually either one of these options. And sometimes I get questions from students. If you're looking at an ebook in the Discovery Search catalog and there's an option for either PDF full text or EPUB full text, what's the difference between the two? The PDF full text tends to be the best option if you are on a laptop computer, just basically a regular computer like a laptop or a desktop. If you are on a mobile device, the EPUB full text would tend to be the better option. So that's one way that I kind of do a distinction between the two. I'm going to go to PDF full text just because I'm in front of my laptop. And I'm already logged in, since I logged in as Hello Guest for full access. And as you may have seen from some of your textbooks, if you're using any of the ebook versions for your textbook, you can read your book directly on the screen if you would prefer to do that. Or in this particular case, this would actually let me go over here. And if I wanted to read a specific chapter, I could go to this download button and I could go ahead and download the entire chapter or parts of the chapter as a PDF to read offline. And sometimes students prefer to do that because it's a little bit easier, or if you wanted to print something, you could print out that chapter as a PDF as well. Now, I get a lot of questions from students too so this is all very well and good, but I would like to be able to read this ebook and read it offline. How could I do that? The way our ebooks work in our library, and if you use ebooks through your local public library or anything like that, this might look a little bit familiar as well. There's a button over here that says full download. And I always find that that's a little bit misleading. It doesn't mean that you are going to be able to download the entire ebook and keep it forever and ever. It would be great if we could do that, but of course, publishers are not going to let us do that. The full download screen offers you the opportunity to check out a copy of the ebook and read it offline for 14 days. So basically, it's like checking out a copy of a print book. Now, one thing you do want to be aware of, some textbooks that are used in SLIM classes have a limit of something like 3 simultaneous users. That limit is not set by us, by the way. It's actually set by the publisher. The publisher actually has the rights to say that this could be for unlimited simultaneous access or only 3 users or even only 1 user. We try to go with unlimited access whenever we can. If you have an ebook such as this one that says unlimited copies available, that means that an unlimited number of users can read this ebook online or check it out offline. And in the interest of time, I won't go through the entire process, but I can let you know that you would just click on this full download button. You would be prompted to create something called a free EBSCOhost account to check out the book. I am going to be showing you as we get ready to switch in just a second what an EBSCOhost account is, because sometimes that can look a little bit confusing for people as well. But you could indeed check this out, and then if you wanted to, you could then have it available for 14 days to read. At the end of 14 days, that access actually would disappear from your computer or from your tablet. We're going to click back on result list, because something I did want to show you as well is, as Emporia State University students, you have access to items that are available in print from the William Allen Library as well, such as older copies of articles or print books. So I switched my search here. I said that I wanted now to search for my topic for print books only. And some of these may not be quite as relevant, although some might be. There's digitized in your collection. That could be interesting. If you find a print book that looks interesting, you could go back over here to the University Libraries and Archives tab, scroll down to the bottom, and click on a link called Interlibrary Loan. And I'm going to log in. You would actually log into this screen for your interlibrary loan record with your ESU username and password again. Now, I have created an account already through Iliad, which is the service that we use for interlibrary loan. So this went directly to my account. If you have not done interlibrary loan through the library before, you would actually get a screen that would look like this. And this is where you would put in all the information that's required by asterisks, and you only have to do that one time. So I'm going to go back over here because I've done this. I would want to do a new request for a book. And what I'm doing is going back over here, I could click on the entire record. And I could copy and paste the information about this from our library into this book request. Now, what would happen is that down here under the notes, this is where you could add down here the location, the deck that it's on in the Emporia Campus Library, and the call number. And if you add that here in the notes, you could also make a note that you are a distance education student, if you are, and that you need this book to be checked out and mailed to you. We will be so happy to do that. I'm emphasizing this because you have access to all of the information through the William Allen White Library. It is equitable access. Now, you would be responsible for mailing the book back to us as far as the cost is concerned. And I am so sorry about that. I wish that we had the budget to be able to subsidize the pre-paid shipping label back to our library. But it is a way that you can get books that are owned by the William Allen White Library. You can also use the interlibrary loan request to request books or other items that are not owned by the library. And sometimes students will say, okay, Cynthia, I can do this through the William Allen White Library, but can't I just do the same thing through my local public library if it's more convenient? Absolutely. If it's more convenient for you to use your interlibrary loan service through your local public library or a campus library, if you're employed on a campus, do that. I'm just saying to you that you have equitable access to all of our resources and services. So that is an option. So I'm going to go back over here. Well, I have found some books, but I still would really like to find something that would deal a little bit more specifically with libraries and outreach services or programming, something like that, in the age of COVID-19 and post-COVID-19. This is where we're going to go to our second link. So, differences here. The Discovery Search Catalog is best for finding items that are owned by William Allen White Library in print or online form. If you have a broad topic, and especially if you want to find more current information, databases are going to be your next choice in terms of finding that information. And this may look familiar. If any of you have done any research in your undergraduate years, you probably have used databases or used freely available online sources such as Google Scholar to find articles. I focus upon databases because these are really the ones that the library has chosen that are tailored to curriculum needs. So we're going to go over here and scroll down to a large subject category called Library and Information Science. And you see my face again as the liaison. My contact information that I popped in chat is also here as well, the ckeen1.emporia.edu, and my phone number, so you can reach it here as well. Now, we have quite a few databases that are focused upon library and information science. One that I'm not going to show you, but I'm going to highlight is something called Academic Writer, which is actually not a database in and of itself. It is a program that we subscribe to directly from the American Psychological Association, and it is kind of the online version of the seventh edition of the APA publication manual, plus a lot more. It will help you export references into APA format. It helps you create references. And it also has a variety of templates that will help you write a paper in APA style so that you can focus a little bit more on the content. We are going to be doing a series of online workshops later this semester in which we're going to be going over academic writer as well as APA style and some other topics. If you would like a head start on academic writer, we have a playlist here that will let you go ahead and play some tutorials that will give you a head start on the way academic writer would work. And I see that Dr. Bardell popped in a chat for her students that yes, it is a very helpful tool for working on the annotated bibliography assignment. I really just can't say enough good things about academic writer. I go to it all the time if I'm not quite sure how to do a reference for something that's a little bit unusual in APA style, and it will give me a template for doing that. So we have a lot of other resources here, but the one I'm going to focus on for this part is Library and Information Science Source. And again, I'm going to have you all notice something here. Remember that when I was in the Discovery Search Catalog, I clicked on that Hello Guest Login for full access. And when I did that, I logged in with my ESU username and password. As a result, it's remembering my login, so I'm not having to log in again. If you go directly to a database like Library and Information Science Source and you click on it, if you're not already logged in, you would need to log in with your ESU username and password. So don't be surprised on that. So I'm going to kind of joke here a little bit. I tend to be the librarian who will say, if somebody is asking me about a question, I'll say, now what specific database have you already researched in? And I do that for a reason. EBSCOhost is actually a vendor or provider of a number of databases, including Library and Information Science Source. So if somebody says I was in EBSCOhost, that's actually more of the interface. The specific one that you're in will be listed below. So we're in the Library and Information Science Source database. I alluded just a little bit ago to something called an EBSCOhost account if you wanted to check out a copy of an ebook for 14 days. This is what I'm talking about. I'm a huge believer when you're in an EBSCOhost database, such as this one, to go up here and click on Sign In. This is actually a little bit different from being authenticated to search in your database. So the Sign In feature on EBSCOhost is probably, I hope, will become one of your best friends when it comes to researching. Signing into an EBSCOhost account in an EBSCOhost database will allow you to save articles in folders. You can organize them into subfolders. It makes it very easy to create references in APA style, and it will keep the articles that you save in your subfolders in your EBSCOhost account until you decide that you're going to delete them. Very easy to get into. You can just click on Continue with Google. And the Continue with Google will link to your g.emporia.edu account. You can do it with other emails as well. I find it easier to use emporia.edu or g.emporia.edu. So notice up here, I have a folder and it says it has items. That's because I've been saving a lot of articles as I go along, and you can see some that I've saved already having to do with public libraries. There's one that had to do with coronaviruses and COVID-19. I have some information about DSM-5 because I'm also the liaison for psychology and also for the Department of Counselor Education. But all of these I've saved and they haven't gone away because I have not deleted them. So I have access to PDF full text. And something I'm going to show you here too. I'm not going to click on this back button to go back. And the reason I'm not doing that is since I'm logged into a database, if I click on the back, it would be kind of like when you are filling out a form online, and if you click on the back button, you get that timeout feature and it says, to confirm a form resubmission. The same thing could happen here, and I don't want that. I don't want to have to start all over again. So my next tip is use the navigation features within the database to go back. And then that way that will not kick you out of the database. We're going to go to an advanced search. And as I've done before, I'm limiting my search to abstract, and I'm going to scroll down here for just a second. Since I'm now in a database to search articles, my limits are going to look a little bit different because the ebook option is not applicable in this instance. However, for an annotated bibliography or for other types of assignments, you will probably want to limit your search just to scholarly or peer-reviewed journals. Library and Information Science Source will have a lot of general publications having to do with libraries, newsletters, and so forth. The scholarly or peer-reviewed journals limit will limit that just to those scholarly journal articles, which are going to be important for your research. However, I am not doing something here. I'm not going to limit my results to full text. And again, you might think, well, Cynthia wants the full text of articles. Why wouldn't she do that? I'm going to show you why in just a second. I'm going to type in libraries. And again, libraries or library or librarian or librarianship. Let's do outreach. Again, and I am going to add a third keyword. Since I can now find more current journal articles, we're going to do COVID-19. And again, I'm looking for all the variants, COVID-19 or coronavirus or 2019 NCOV. And let's see what we find here. And I have 9 results. That is actually a pretty good search. I'm pretty happy with that. Wow, there's some interesting things here. And if you wanted to limit your results just to articles that are published in the English language, you could do that as well. But I just wanted to show you what we can find in this particular instance. And as you see, we do have some that are available in PDF full text. So at this point, that looks like it's going to be a really interesting article. I could go over here to this folder icon and I can add this record, which will include that link to the PDF full text into my folder in my EBSCOhost account. And I do not have to remember now if I downloaded it or I emailed it to myself. If I were starting to work on an annotated bibliography or any other type of research, I can also click on this site. And again, in your program, you're going to be using APA, the 7th edition, for your references and then for writing your papers. I did this one on purpose. So I sometimes answer questions from kind of unhappy students because they will have copied and pasted a citation or a reference from a database, a generated one, and then they might come back to me and they'll say, professor said that was completely wrong, but I found the reference in the cite or citation tools. Well, here's the thing. Citation tools and the way that they generate their citations are only as good as the metadata within the bibliographic record. This is going to sound really familiar when you take LI804 with organization of information. Notice something that happened here. So part of this looks correct in terms of the way that hopefully some of the authors are. That one's a little bit weird there. But in APA style, certain words in the title of an article are actually in lowercase. So in this case, or in this instance, the word place would actually need to be converted into lowercase. So I would need to do that when I copied and pasted this. I could copy and paste the citation into my working bibliography or a working references list, but I do have to look to see what might need to be corrected. We might leave COVID-19 Zine Diaries Project capitalized simply because it's more of a proper name, but I would actually double check that with APA. So just wanted to give you a heads up. These may not be actually 100% correct. It's a good start, but always check your citations to see if they need to be updated in terms of APA style. So I'm going to use my navigation tools here. We'll go back to the result list. Well, this is pretty good so far, but this one from July, September of 2021 from a journal called The New Review of Academic Librarianship. I really like this one, but notice something here. I don't have the PDF full text available because I didn't limit just to PDF full text. But I would really like to see if our library has access to this specific article through another database or through another resource. This is why I don't limit to full text initially. This part, this is kind of my next tip for you, and it is not actually very intuitive. So I want to show you how this is going to work. I am copying the title of the article. And you notice that everything we've been doing is opening in a new tab. That's for a very specific reason. You always want to have one tab open back to the library's webpage because you might have to go back to the main library's webpage to check on information such as this. I'm going to go back to the Discovery Search Catalog because, again, keep in mind, this is going to help me see what's owned by our library. I'm not going to do a limit now, but I am going to paste the title of that article that I copied. And it looks like it is going to be available through another database or through another resource. And it looks like that would be a really good article for me to read. So I clicked on that PDF option. We'll let that load. And then the PDF will load. Now, this is actually not connected to an EBSCOhost account because this is a separate online periodical subscription that we have to the New Review of Academic Librarianship. So in this particular instance, I would have to download this article, but I could go back over here and I could still add this item to my folder because I would be saving it. It's just not going to save the PDF full text within my EBSCOhost account. I'm going to have to save that in a different place. But I did want to show you that because that's how you can see, even if an article doesn't come up immediately in PDF full text, copy and paste the title of the article and then see if it's available. Go back to the Discovery Search Catalog, paste that title of the article, and then see if we have it. Let's say that this one didn't pop up though. Whatever reason we didn't have access to it. That is when your next step could be over here on this link to interlibrary loan this item. And you're going to get a screen like this that we are trying to fix, which I do not like. We are very aware of this problem. You would have to scroll down here and then click on interlibrary loan. But I did want to show you this. If you do interlibrary loan through a database like Library and Information Science Source, notice what it did. In this particular instance, it populated that request automatically. So I didn't have to do the copy and paste like I had to do with the ebook. So I could submit this request. In this particular instance, I would get a copy of the PDF full text in my student email within a few working days. It sort of depends on where it is available. And again, remember, we did have this one. I just wanted to show you this one as an example. Okay. So I'm being mindful of our time because I want to allow time for questions as well. I do want to show you in our remaining time this third tab or this third link for journals. So sometimes it can be a little bit confusing on the difference between databases and journals. I would go to databases if I have a broad topic and I want to find a lot of articles from a lot of different journals. I would go to the journals tab if my slim professor said, why don't you just do some browsing of the tables of contents of some recent issues in a specific journal. So the journals tab is used to find specific journal names. And one that I use in my own research, but there are a lot of others out there, would be the Journal of Academic Librarianship. But again, you can search by the title of any journal. If we have access to it either through a separate online subscription or through a database, you'll have a link to it. And what I love about this particular option with the journals is that this is just like looking at a copy of a magazine issue or a journal issue in print. And I'm from the generation that I like to browse. And sometimes you find things by serendipity. This is just like browsing online. That's why it's browsing. It's kind of a cute name that they have. So when I look at this, I'm actually not searching by topic, but I am, oh, wow, looking inside of the Utah COVID-19 digital collection as a community archive. I could go directly to that PDF and then read it and get some ideas. So again, Journals tab is best when you have the specific name of a journal. Databases tab, that's going to be the best option when you're looking for a lot of articles on a particular topic. Discovery Search Catalog, probably best to see by topic what is owned by the William Allen White Library, maybe in print or in online form. So they all have some different overlaps, but hopefully that's a good distinction of when you would use each of these tabs. I am now going to go back up here and I'm going to stop my recording.